Yes, good morning, everybody. We have a long discussion paper, so we will skip all the preliminaries and go straight to the provisions one by one, which have been proposed here. The changes are far-reaching, and at the very least, it will triple the workload of the RP concern, IRP. So very, very important for us to understand what the implications are. Okay. I would leave it to the participants to go through the paper in detail. Maybe those who have already seen. If you have not, please go through it again. But I will try to take you directly to the provisions which are proposed to be amended. Now, these are going to be in the form of the regulations and in some cases by way of a circular. So coming to the first proposal, identification and exclusion of real estate projects. Now, identification is fine. What is the meaning of exclusion? The thought process here is that when a corporate debtor is involved in multiple real estate projects, and in this case, real estate project could be at different locations. It could be on the same contiguous land parcel, but having distinct project identification numbers as per RERA, which means they are different phases, different buildings, different towers, of that nature, where each building or set of buildings has got a distinct project identification number. Now, it's very often found that in a corporate debtor which is running multiple projects together, either at same location or at different locations, not all of them are at the same state of construction or in the same state of distress. They could be very, very different. You could have one project which is nearly 99% complete and maybe just the fit out finishing, or sometimes just the documentation part is left. At the other end, there might be another project where even the foundation is not laid. And there will be probably others in between these two extreme cases. Based primarily on the judicial pronouncements, but also through the committee which IBBI had set up to look into the real estate sector and give their report. What is being broadly proposed is that insolvency resolution, while it will start for the company at the admission stage, but immediately after that, the IRP and RP are mandated to identify those projects which will continue to be under insolvency resolution, and where feasible and where backed by reasoning, exclude those projects which do not need to be resolved, which means those which are usually at an advanced stage of completion. And as I said, maybe minor construction left, or where only the documentation aspects are left, or the final finishing touches are to be given. Okay. So this is the first. That is what it means. Identification. First, identify all the projects, and exclusion, those which need to be excluded. So what does So what does the IRP have to do? Primarily at IRP stage. Sandeep ji, please mute yourself.
Last time वो रेखा को.
Okay. So where the corporate debtor has more than one real estate project, the RP shall place before the committee in its first meeting. Project-wise, fortunately, they have said a resolution professional, so which means you have 30 days time to get yourself acquainted about the entire operations of the CD. The RP shall place before the committee in its first meeting project-wise details of all real estate projects of the corporate debtor, including RERA registration details, stage of completion, status of possession and occupancy. Possession and occupancy legally are different, and hence the words have been very carefully used. Sometimes possession is given, occupancy may be an issue, it may still not be occupied. And sometimes occupancy is given, but possession has not been handed over formally. So it could be. So these are the legal status of what is the status of each unit. The number of completed and incomplete units in each real estate project. In a project which has got multiple floors, especially very large towers, it is quite common to get a completion certificate and even an occupancy certificate on a floor-wise basis. Okay, like you have an 80-floor project, you can get up to 20th floor to begin with, then 20 to 30, 30 to 40. So this is possible. That means the construction is still ongoing. The tower or building is not yet fully complete, but it is complete to the extent that even occupancy can be given partially. And such other information as relevant. Now the committee, after considering the information placed under Sub-Regulation 1 by the RP, the committee shall identify any real estate project which, in its opinion, does not require resolution under the CIRP. Now, let us understand this. When they say the committee shall do this, the committee shall do that, the committee includes the RP. Now, we tend to forget that RP is the chairperson of the committee. So, when there is a chairperson, normally when it says committee, the preparatory work in terms of making the paperwork, the notes, whatever, the information, and even the proposals or alternates available. So this is entirely going to be the job of the RP. The creditors are not going to sit there and look at and on their own bring up all these things or make a research of that. No, they will not. That's why I said in the beginning that this is likely to triple the workload of RP. Okay. It's not that it is wrong. It ought to be done. There's no doubt of that. But it means the implication is that the resources and the time that the RP has to spend will be much more than maybe some other insolvency, especially where it's not a going concern. Once the committee has identified this, then it shall authorize the RP to make an application to NCLT seeking exclusion of those specified real estate projects. So it is not the committee or the RP who are deciding what to include and what to exclude. It is the NCLT only which has the power by way of a application made to it with reasons. So today we are going to have this roundtable format. Okay, it's not that I'm going to present and explain. So at every stage, this is where I will stop and we will have comments and queries from participants. Anything so far?
Sir, once the RP or it is the RP who will decide, he will directly make the application to NCLT or he has to consult, discuss with the COC and the
It's there, no? First, the identification of what to exclude is a committee decision.
Acha. So it has
Okay,
to.
the RP is, like I said, everywhere throughout the regulations now, you will find the committee shall, okay, or the committee may. But committee includes the RP. So the RP's job is to provide all the information, the notes, the agenda, the details, everything, including alternate proposals, pros and cons. This all has to be done by the RP. The committee will be like a board of directors.
Okay.
It's exactly that. The COC is the board for all the process okay. Very legally, one can say the board of directors' powers are with the RP, but under the supervision of the COC, so it is like a super board or a supervisory.
One more point here is like in any of the matters for that matter, when we have to intimate COC, does it mean that it has to be even intimated to suspended board and take their comments on any such actions?
See, this is through meetings of the COC. It's not an intimation. Everything is through a meeting. And meeting includes the suspended board as mandatory participants. Okay. So naturally, they will all be. Yes. There are no exclusions there. There is no the entire CRP or liquidation process does not actually envisage anymore a bilateral consultation.
ठीक. But there
Whatever happens has to be through a formal meeting of the
there
committee.
are certain decisions that have to be taken in any real estate project, which are need to be done urgently, immediately. Where COC approval cannot be sought, it has to be intimated maybe by a
No, here we are going, let's say first, this provision of what to include, what to exclude, there is no urgency about it.
Okay.
Let's be clear. Okay, this is not an operating decision. This is
That's
a fundamental material decision, what to include in CRP and what to exclude from CRP. So naturally, there is no urgency. It has to go through this process, which includes identification by the RP, the reasoning given by the RP. The RP has to tell, okay, this can be excluded, this cannot be excluded. These are the reasons. Now the COC may agree to that, may not agree. They might say, no, because of other interconnections, etc., or we are common lenders and we would like it to be done. There could be other reasons. They will say, no, let us not exclude anything. Or they might say, fine, let us exclude. Okay.
So, sir,
Now,
in
yeah.
this case, where NCLT approval is required, do you know how much time it takes into NCLT application and again, adjudication? So, till that time, the entire CIRP process will be held up.
For all.
So, what will happen to
Unless
timeline?
The CRP starts for the company as a whole.
Okay.
Exclusion is a special case scenario.
Okay.
And it can happen only after the approval of the adjudicating authority is obtained. Till such time, it is the CRP of the company as a whole. How long it takes in NCLT, etc., are not subject matters of discussion, neither here nor in any other, except.
No, my only limited point was the timeline. And unless you decide which will be, part of CIP, which will not, other things, contributory creditors, all these things will be held up. So ultimately CIP will be
No,
held up.
nothing is held up. What is held up? See, till now, it has been, the general thing has been all projects are under CIP. Okay, then slowly through judicial pronouncements and things like reverse CRP, only this project all came. They did not have the backing of law as such. But based on experience now, these special practices are being codified. That's the only difference. That it should follow a certain procedure and a certain protocol, and it should not be an ad hoc thing.
So till that
Nothing
time
new
we
is
get
being proposed.
Okay. So till that time we get NCLT clearance of any exclusion, everything will be as it is, it will
As not.
continue.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
See, exclusions only after permission. It's not like an abandoned child. You can't say हमने इसको exclude करने का decide कर लिया, so we will ignore it till and the permission जब. No, till the time the permission comes, it is like as an analogy, it's like giving a child for adoption. Till the formality is complete, the child is yours. Okay.
Ravi sir, what happens to claim invitation and claim verification of the various home
That
buyers?
happens much before IRP stage. This is RP stage. So no change there. Nothing changes till the NCLT on the basis of the application made by the RP based on recommendation of the committee or approval of the committee. Till such time, everything is same. Nothing changes.
But should the claimants of that particular project not decide this, whether their project should be included or excluded? Why should it be vested with the
So
COC as a
how
whole?
does the RP come to that? That is the consultation process. Everything doesn't have to be told, ना. अब आपको बोल सकते हैं ये खाना खाइए, अभी हाथ से खाएंगे, स्पून से खाएंगे, पहले क्या खाएंगे, दाल लेंगे. One doesn't need to be told that. Naturally, the allottees and AR and all, they are done at the first stage. And they are also participants, okay? So when the RP comes with a proposal to exclude something, I mean, not, or in the first meeting of the COC, the allottees through the AR are part of that. Now that proposal goes back to them for detailed discussion. So their inputs will come. Then it will come back to the committee. So it is not just one off, on a particular date, like auspicious time, you have to decide. No. These decisions are going to be extremely tricky and might take couple of months. In normal course, they will. Nothing is going to be easy.
So should the timelines not be extended for real estate insolvency?
See, it is like this. You have got 10 projects. Your timeline for it is 180 days. Tomorrow you are able to take 3 or 4 out of that. Should the timeline be reduced? No.
Sir, but in that case, you have to reconstitute the COC again. Maybe AR may be replaced. All these things also will come in consequential.
Reconstitution of COC when projects are excluded is a reduction. It's not an adding, right? Reducing the people who are going out, okay, that part of it, how the committee will be allotted, etc. Now, these are still clarification. In fact, that is one of the points we have to say. This entire paper doesn't address that issue. That once a project is excluded, what happens to those allottees? Do they go out from the voting mechanism itself? Because the AR is still
natural,
one.
sir.
AR is still one.
If you're,
नहीं, what did I say? Natural की बात नहीं कर रहा. मैं बोला, this paper has not addressed it. And if it is not addressed, we know very well how things can be chaotic. So that's the reason why these are called discussion papers, so that such suggestions of lacuna, gaps in the drafting, etc., can be informed to the board so that they can take care of. Correct? That's the whole point of this session. This is not post notification. This is pre. So we are at the suggestion stage.
So there should be project level subcommittees to give input to the COC and the RP. Should that not be the provision here?
Ideally, if you look at it, when you have a real estate project-wise issues are there, without saying so, it is like a group insolvency. Correct. Each one is like, let us say, an independent entity with its own creditors. The financial creditors might be different. Allottees are definitely different. So should, within the umbrella of the CD, should each one be a separate resolution plan? No, that is allowed. Project-wise resolution plan is allowed. So should the resolution plan for project A be voted upon by people of B and C who have nothing to do with it? Now, these issues have not been addressed.
Even sir, there has to be a suggestion from our side that project-wise COC can be, suggest.
Yes, in fact, that is not
will be
there.
More pragmatic. Yes.
Yes, in fact, that's what this paper is for, to come up with such ideas and tell them. And then, of course, to the extent feasible, they will incorporate some. Maybe they will want to go slow. We don't know, because these are new things. How will you, if you have, let us say, 10 different projects, a large real estate CD. So there will be 10 different ARs. Ideally, there should be. Now, there will be certain issues which are common for all, because there is certain expenditure, lending and liabilities which are at the CD level. How do you address that if you have everything project-wise? It's not that easy. Okay. So, that in a way, the mechanisms which are being thought of for group insolvency, probably that type of mechanism will be required even for a real estate insolvency where there is project-wise distinctiveness. Yeah, so that was about identification and exclusion. Proposal 2 addresses the ring fencing of funds and accounts. That means how money shall be used, what guidelines are required for that, how the accounting shall be maintained. And this is where the actual workload increases. The principle here being followed is that funds generated from project should ordinarily be used for the benefit of that project.
So your screen is not visible.
Not visible?
I think you have closed it.
No, sir, it's
No,
visible.
I
It's
didn't
visible.
close.
It's visible.
It is visible only.
It is visible to us.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
sorry, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you minimized it. Okay. Yeah. So money of the project should be used for the project. Okay. That's not rocket science, but that's not normally how it is done. In fact, most real estate insolvency, one of the reasons for the insolvency to happen is that money of one project gets used up elsewhere, either for another project or maybe for some other purpose altogether. So that is attempted to be ring fencing. Now, this is not a new thing, what IBBS is proposing. This is an extension and harmonizing with RERA, because RERA already says so. Okay. So this is the new regulation which is proposed, project-wise books of accounts and fund utilization. So RP has to maintain separate books of account for each project. All receipts and payments shall be made through the separate bank account maintained for that project. Which is this bank account? This is the RERA mandated bank account, not some separate CIRP account or something. No, it is that account. Project-wise statement of receipts and payments at such intervals as necessary. Now, the minimum obviously is monthly, but it can be more frequent if the situation so demands. But this is between the RP and the committee as to what frequency they would like to review this accounts of each project. And just so that there is no doubt at all, now the reference of RERA is in the regulation itself. Now, fund utilization requirements. Now, these are under section 4, subsection 2, clause L, subclause capital D of the RERA Act. Now, this gives the various requirements of how funds shall be utilized. One of this is that at every drawal, which the developer will want, now 3 certificates are required to be given. Now, given to whom? Obviously, the bank actually, which allows that. The bank is the escrow agent for that account. A certificate from the engineer, a certificate from the architect, and a certificate from the chartered accountant who is monitoring the financial side. Any comments?
Sir, this project-wise is okay, but in many projects there will be several towers. Now we have cases where LRTs of towers, one tower is complete, one tower is not complete. There are infighting there also. Then how does this address there?
Okay, there are 2 things. One, if the separate towers, they could be having a separate project number, it's possible, or they may be under one project number. The IBBI and the RERA recognize the project numbers, the registration numbers of the project, which includes one or more buildings, one or more wings, one or more faces. Now, if you are talking of where several towers are there and each one is an independent project, now that is what you have to address it in the previous provision, which shall be included, which shall be excluded. Assuming that all of them have to be included and they are not separate project numbers. Say 4 towers, 400, each 100 units, 400 people are involved, and it is just one project. So what is the issue? For infighting among themselves, ultimately the decision is by voting.
No, sir, but what happens in many of the cases, what is happening is that one tower is almost complete, one tower is middle, one tower is starting. So that is the problem there.
This is, okay, I think you have missed the previous discussion. So I will
No, sir, I was there. I was there, sir.
The first proposal is, if they are distinct project numbers, see if you can exclude some of them.
But these are all in the same project.
But if they are same project number, there is no question of excluding. Okay.
No,
So
sir,
then it's just one project.
No, sir, my query is that does this document offer any resolution for that kind of problem?
This is not like an ATM machine where you put a card and get a solution. No, it will only address common issues. Specific issues of conflicts between different factions. See, when you have one,
You are not audible.
Oh, me.
हो
Sir,
गई
you are audible to us.
हाँ, उधर साहब अब क्या मैं माइक स्पीकर को बढ़ा
Ravi
डाले
ji,
हैं
you are not audible.
You are audible.
कहाँ डाले हैं भैया दम
Who is not
पटेला
audible?
धम धम धम
Podarji, who is not audible? Okay, maybe yes, his speaker is off. Huh. So, okay, if different factions
धम
of a
पटेला धम धम धम
Sudhir ji,
धम
कुछ बोलना है?
पटेला
Mr. Sudhir Saxena, you want to say
नो
something?
सर
No. So, if a faction of a particular large group has an issue which is different from another, ultimately under IBC, it is resolved by voting. There is no other option. Okay.
You are not audible, sir.
Mr. Poddar, your speaker is the problem. Everybody else can hear me.
Mr. Podar, yes, we all can hear you.
Please
We can
check
hear.
your speaker,
And we can
Podarji.
hear Mr. Gandhi. Yeah.
ये पोदार साहब का हर बार का प्रॉब्लम होता है. Somebody please call him and tell him to his speaker has gone on mute.
नहीं पोदार जी आप लॉग आउट करके लॉग इन कीजिए.
He can't hear you, so I'm sure if he cannot hear me, he cannot hear you also. You have to call him on phone. Yeah, okay. He will have to take care of that. So issues between factions, there is nothing which prescription which anybody can give. How do you solve issues between two factions which have different interests because they are on different towers? There is no hard and fast solution to that. Nobody can tell you. It has to be how well. This is where the man management skills of the RP come into play, ultimately. So between the RP and the AR, they will have to hold maybe long discussions to resolve such conflicts. Okay. No paper can provide any, solution to that. Do not expect that. Never happens.
Sir, in my experience, this RERA escrow in itself becomes complexity to deal with when you resolve these assets. When you have a court appointee, do you really need RERA escrow is my question, especially because there could be CIRP costs which have to be met and which have to be paid by home buyers. How do you draw that from RERA escrow? That is considered a violation. So my real point is, RERA escrow was envisaged for a reason. At that stage, there is no RP appointed in the projects when they are in the normal course. Once there is an RP, there is a monitoring professional who is acting as an escrow on behalf of everyone. So do we really need a RERA escrow to continue? That's my larger question.
Well, your question is well taken. What is the solution? And will it be acceptable? One recurring theme, in fact, very specifically, I think right at the beginning, but again reiterated in the paper, is RERA is the primary law covering real estate. The Supreme Court also has said that. Only you can use 238 only when there is a direct conflict and it is impossible to reconcile or harmonize the provisions of both. So now if very specific question about CRP cost. Now CRP cost is an approved cost which can be drawn. I doubt if any bank which is the escrow agent can say we will not disburse this. Let them say that. I mean they can. Anybody can say anything. Like being stupid is a fundamental right. So one has to go to NCLT. But this will happen only once in a while. So the backup for cost, CRP cost, is the COC approval. Now COC approval is anyway mandatory. So I don't think that is going to be a big issue by itself.
Yeah, sir, in my view,
Like there are two accounts in RERA, 70% and 30%. 70% is exclusively for project expenses, which COT would recommend, through the RERA. And that 30% account is a general account, which I believe if there is a CRP cost is a common cost, that can be reimbursed, of course, subject to the approval of COC. So I don't think that should be an issue, sir.
Yeah, it should not. You're right. Absolutely. 70-30 is what RERA itself allows. That 30% can be used for general corporate purpose, 70% for the construction part. And I mean, frankly speaking, if there are 100 real estate companies undergoing CRP at any point of time, 70 to 80 are not functional anyway. There's no money to do it. So we are talking of only that very small number where operations in terms of construction, etc., can actually be carried on during CRP. Very few numbers. So
Typically, sir, you need architect certificate, I think, before you even withdraw, progress, and then only you can withdraw from the RERA account.
3 certificates I mentioned.
That continues. That continues, right?
That is mandatory, no law. Unless the law is in conflict, there is no question of harmonizing it. Both have to be done. Architect certificate, engineer certificate, chartered accountant certificate.
Correct.
They have to be. I mentioned that, Yeah, handing over possession of units to allottees, next issue. Okay. Units already complete, substantially complete, and requiring prior approval of COC for handing over possession. Now, this regulation, proposed regulation, now deals with situation where the approval of the COC, one, should it be taken unit-wise, or the possibility that you can take as an in-principle approval, and then the RP has the authority to hand over possession where it is complete, where the conditions are met. So alternative one, where without any approval, you hand over. Okay. RP, of course, to give reasons, and this is an administrative convenience proposal. Okay. There is not any substantive law. It's saying everything else is okay. You don't necessarily have to take COC approval. Go ahead and hand over possession. Obviously, you have to justify that all the payments that have to come have come. Okay. The permissions are in place to hand over possession. That is the regulatory permissions. And the second alternative is, of course, in principle approval from the COC. Unless anybody has anything to say, this is actually a facilitator for RPs to do their job a little easier. There is a proposal to simplify the claim form. Okay, the form CA as it exists, which is a common form for all creditors in class. The has recognized that that allottees are not at the same level of sophistication as, let's say, institutional financial creditors or anybody else. So the proposal is to make a form which is very simple for them to understand and adequately captures all the information which the RP requires. So this form CA -R, these are what is proposed to be included. The discussion paper has the sample form, proposed form at the end. The form will be notified by way of a circular, all forms. Now that is the enabling power given in the regulations. What it has introduced, now these are the things which are different. The first is the preference of relief. What type of relief does the claimant allottee want? Does the allottee want possession? Does the allottee want only registration? That possession, obviously possession is over, registration to be done. Or the allottee wants refund. Okay, just wants to no longer. not wait anymore, just give me my refund. Now, what is the possession status that has to be captured? Is the allottee claimant in possession already? And of what are the supporting documents with the claim form? Now, the information which is captured through the claim form, now how will it be used? Because it is with a purpose, and this proposal deals with that. That while allottees constitute a single class and should continue to vote as a homogeneous class in the COC, the relief sought by individual allottees might differ, and that information, if it is properly captured, will help the prospective RAs to deal with it appropriately in the resolution plans. So this is an information which RP shall collate and disclose it on a project-wise basis in the IM. So the IM becomes more comprehensive and far more useful to a prospective resolution application.
Sir, one more relief it missed is that suppose I get everything, but in my they're all gated communities where there are so many common amenities. I have cases where people come only for common amenities. He's staying there, everything is done, but common amenities are missing. So he'll say that as per RERA approval, he should build a gym, water for swimming pool, and all that, which he has not done. For that also, people are giving claims. So what should we? So that also should come as a relief point, no, sir?
No, that is
because there are three reliefs which are proposed: possession, registration. One more is there. Refund. Refund. Yeah. But there are people, suppose when I pay, suppose I pay 1 crore for a villa. Out of 1 crore, so 95 lakhs is for my, whatever I am getting in my house. But 5 lakhs for is the roads, gym, clubhouse kind of thing, whatever is promised. Okay. Yes. So I think that also should be there then.
No, how is that? That is part of the project which needs to be completed. That is a mandatory requirement under RERA.
But what still, I am an allottee. But sir, when I am an allottee, I am filing this application. When you want me to
you are not filing an application, you are filing a claim.
The claim, in the claim, if you want me to tick one of those three,
possession, it means possession which is complete as per the contract and in law.
Ravi, may I come in, please?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, actually, there are many judgments, and it is also right that as an allottee, what you're entitled is to the house. Now, this other things, the amenities that is provided, clubhouse, swimming pool, this, are not part, you're not a financial creditor there. They are all, you can claim those as an operational creditor. That doesn't impinge on the basic requirement of Article 21 of giving you the house. There you are a financial creditor. So all these, there are many judgments on this issue. All of us can refer. So it will not go the way you said. Yes, you're an allottee means you have to get everything. Is not correct. What is important is you to get your house. The rest are operational.
Actually, that is addressed.
Yeah.
That is addressed when we go through this discussion paper. That part is completely addressed in the when we come to the monitoring mechanism after a resolution plan.
No, I was only responding to his question.
Yeah, because people have not read the paper, na.
Even other than judgments.
No, judgment is about in a different context. Okay,
judgment can always evolve,
One second. Let's not go into a tangent. 1 second. The judgments are in a particular context, but that is not the point here. Every contractual obligation, unless waived or modified by way of the resolution plan, shall continue to be devolve upon the resolution applicant. So tomorrow, when you get possession, okay, and your common amenities are not given, your relief is under RERA and not under IBC. IBC resolves insolvency. IBC is not to monitor or regulate the real estate development. Okay. So we are talking of this.
Sir, one more query, that's only. So that means that once my villa is registered in my name, I'm no more an allottee. I need not file I cannot file anything in the form CA. Is it the way
If
then?
you've taken possession, you are
Registration
outside
also?
of insolvency, but you continue to be a member of that project, so your relief is under RERA.
Okay, right. Got it.
Okay.
So, 1 second. I think somewhere, if you go to the previous relief, registration necessarily captures the underneath land. The land actually also, part of it comes from the common area. Isn't that when you
No,
are...
no. Land and the things built on land. So the land, first of all, the conveyancing of the land is an undivided portion. It never goes in the unit holder's name. It usually remains, the name of is that of the society, which is formed.
That is in Maharashtra. So that's why I was trying to different.
I think
Outside Maharashtra, it goes to the individual. That's the question.
that depends on the type of it. Is it under an Apartments Act or a Societies Act? Okay. If
But
the
sir, in
construction
conveyance
is
deed
under
also, all the amenities are mentioned normally. In conveyance deed also.
नहीं mention की बात नहीं कर रहे. Somebody raised the question that if the amenities are not completed, where does the relief lie? So the answer is it lies in terms of that law, which is not insolvency. Okay.
Okay. Here also in 36(2) also in 4 they are writing any other relief
As indicated in the claim form. Okay. That does not mean that, see, when you say what is pending, now that is something to be addressed in the plan. So this claim is coming before the plan, right? So when the plan comes for you to vote upon and you think the plan doesn't take care of all the issues, vote against the plan. Negotiate with the resolution applicant. What are the modifications required in the plan? So that whole opportunity is there. Because not going to take care of individual cases which are different with different features. Yes.
And see, to answer that question, the possession of the unit is the primary here. The possession of the unit is given once the occupation certificate is there. That does not mean whether amenities other than the unit is ready or not ready. That is a separate issue. So once the possession of the unit is given, the refund is paid, conveyance deed and execution is done. Any other relief as indicated in the claim form will be subject to which forum that can address that issue. As Ravi said, that if it is pertaining to amenities which are independent of your possession of the unit, which will go to RERA. That is how I think we should interpret this particular draft amendment. Is a thought, I mean, maybe right or wrong, but yeah.
It is no, because though everything is not an insolvency issue. So those things will be, insolvency addresses it by way of the resolution plan, which you are approving. Okay. So that should capture whatever you want to, as an allot you want to get incorporated in. Okay. 36(2). Instead of, this is about capturing information. Okay. Primarily so that the IM becomes stronger.
But in case of a conflict between RERA and IBC, which law will prevail?
IBC being a later law will prevail only if there is a conflict, and just because you think it is a conflict doesn't mean it's a conflict. So each one actually deals with two different issues. RERA deals with regulating the operation of the real estate sector. Insolvency deals with the insolvency resolution of that particular developer entity. So they are two different things. Okay.
I'll give you an example where IBC may not be able to override RERA. So we are facing that issue. We need home buyers' consent on the revision of the building plan. And they are not coming forward to give that consent.
Yeah, I mean, RERA has specified thresholds of approval for different issues arising in that. IBC has only one threshold, 66. Now, will this override that? Will that? That depends on how the resolution plan is made and whether the resolution plan specifically says that as far as this aspect is concerned, this is equivalent to taking approval under that regulation or that provision of RERA. I mean, you have to, the plan has to actually tie these two together by specific referencing. A good resolution plan does that.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that very clearly saying so-and-so section of RERA requires this percentage. But because for this purpose, IBC will override RERA, and hence this is deemed to be approval under RERA. ऐसा लिखने का. Okay.
Yeah, so and also I would like to share on the views coming from the participant. So this the discussion paper is addressing the specific issue that where the many projects are there and few projects may be doing good and others are not doing good, and the company has been admitted into CRP. Maybe this discussion paper is to address that what is can be excluded and what should be included in the
That is just
CRP.
one proposal, Rajanji.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah. This is
discussion paper
yeah,
addresses all
yeah.
types of real estate issues.
Correct, correct. That's right. And you see the conflict with RERA and the local laws, and every state has a local law. So there are a lot of conflicts, which as an RP, we all have to, mitigate those things and work on a comprehensive manner.
Yes. Now, proposal 6, the disclosures in the IM. The more complete the information, the better plan that one will get. Okay. So this is about mandating additional project-wise disclosures in the IM. So these are the things that are proposed to be added that must be mandatorily done. A lot of RPs are already doing this. In fact, so what the regulations are capturing, as at least as far as this regulation is concerned, is best practices which are already happening. They have now codified it. Okay, so nothing new. So completed units, how many under construction, how many sold, how many unsold. I think it is pretty standard in every IM for a real estate insolvency. Stage of completion, and somebody asked common areas. This is it. Stage of completion of common areas, common facilities, and other amenities. Now, these are to be captured in the IM. And once they are captured in the IM, they have to be addressed in the resolution plan. Okay. Very easy to understand. I don't think there is any need for further discussion on this. Now, this is a tricky one. We need to understand what this means. This is a proposal to have an independent technical and cost to complete assessment for the project. Okay. The reasoning, resolution plans are fundamentally dependent upon accurate estimation of the cost and timeline. One thought will come to mind, why should RP and COC get into cost of construction or cost to completion? They don't have to. But if something is like that is done, this is like a government tenders. They do give an indicative project cost. That helps bidders. Now, efficient bidders, people will quote below that, and inefficient ones will want to quote above that. Or it could be that the estimate of the tenderer, the one publishing the tender, may not be correct. Either way, the enabling provision is now given. Now, this is not mandatory. This is enabler depending on the situation. So this is talking of an independent technical and cost to complete assessment by suitably qualified and independent professionals through some broad standardized method, etc. RP to appoint such professional will go directly to what the regulation says, because it's a repeat of more or less what these are. So this is the insertion of regulation 4F, technical and cost to complete assessment of real estate project. RP shall appoint one or more suitably qualified and independent professional to undertake a project-wise technical and cost to complete assessment. Obviously, this involves money. So prior approval of COC is a given. If the COC doesn't approve it, you don't do it. The word shall is used. This does not mean that if COC doesn't approve, then RP will go ahead and do it. No, it means if it is in the RP's opinion, it has to be done. Always when you have a conflict with the COC, go to NCLT. Such cost shall form part of insolvency resolution process cost. mandatory contents of resolution plan, just to ensure that for a real estate, all the real estate specific type of information is captured in the plan. It's a sort of repeat. What is there in the IM? Now this, all that will need to be addressed in the resolution plan. So, the total unit sanctioned, etc., etc. Treatment of allottees, including possession, execution of conveyance deed, registration or transfer in respect of title of the unit, already handed over or otherwise eligible, which means maybe possession has been given but documentation is not complete, refund of amount paid, or any other relief. Okay, so it could be deferred payment proposal or any other financial proposal or a commercial proposal included in the plan. Now, if there are allottees who have not submitted the claim, but the IM captures that data, then the plan has to provide how such claims will be treated. This does not mean that those who have not filed claims, their claims shall be written off. No, that is not the intent of that. It usually, again, best practice, most good resolution plans in real estate, they give a period of between 60 to 120 days after takeover of the CD by the RA for those who are still remaining for them to file claims. Timelines for completion and delivery, naturally every R plan has to. And this is something different now. Consequences and actions in case of default by allottees, including failure to pay revised or balance consideration. So revised means if the resolution plan has provided for an increase of the purchase price for whatever reason, and that has been approved. Once that is approved, if the allottee fails to defaults in that, what shall be the consequence has to be included in the resolution plan. There cannot be a consequence visited on the allottee as a shock at a later date if it has not been addressed in the plan. Then periodic reporting, including submission of progress reports to the monitoring. Now, the monitoring committee for a real estate project as proposed in this is going to be much stronger and with a longer tenure than a usual monitoring committee which is there. And that's the next proposal. Any comments? Okay, we will go to the composition of monitoring committee in real estate cases. Again, one of those where the law is catching up with best practice. The monitoring committee shall, in addition to the members referred to in this clause, which means that the general monitoring committee, whatever is referred to, in addition to that, the AR or any other representative of the allottees chosen by majority vote, which means that at the time of resolution plan, once it is approved, etc., a meeting of the allottees will need to be called and a vote taken as to whom they want to be their representative in the monitoring committee. And a representative of RERA or the concerned land development authority, but this is not mandatory. This is at their consent, which means they would need to agree to be part of the committee. Any comment? Functioning of AR, enhancing transparency. This is addressing what are, one would say, not very healthy practice, but that is now being taken care of. that all the consultations which the AR holds with the allottees, two of them are mandatory, one before a COC meeting and one after a COC meeting. Now, now the regulations say that this shall be minuted and those minutes shall be submitted to the RP, who in turn will place them before the whole COC at the time of the next meeting. It also addresses how the three names are to be given in the beginning when the AR is chosen by the allottees. At that stage, people have no clue who are these people. So people vote by maybe whatever name they like best, or maybe the address. So now the regulations say that mandatorily detailed information of those three IPs who are proposed to be the AR shall be given and be made available to the allottees. The minutes we already covered. IR has to give the minutes to the RP, who shall place before the committee. Similarly, whatever the AR's comments are in a COC meeting shall also be recorded in the minutes. The minutes of the meeting shall record the views, concern, and opinions expressed by the AR on behalf of such creditors. Okay, that needs to be captured in the COC minutes. Most people are doing it. They just codifying the same thing. Additional safeguards prior to liquidation. Same principle, liquidation last resort, more so in a real estate project. So what are the additional safeguards which are proposed? RP shall place a detailed note before the COC setting out the efforts undertaken during the CIRP to identify completion-oriented solutions and the reasons why such alternatives are not considered feasible, the details regarding the efforts undertaken to identify prospective resolution applicants, developers, investors, blah, 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 etc. And so this is the draft amended regulation. New regulation 39D. Efforts undertaken, proposals were received, whether proposals received, reasons why such alternatives are not considered feasible. Now, if there are proposals received, they have been put to vote and the committee as a whole has voted against it. But still, it has to be captured in the note in terms of why, the reasoning. Now, the Amendment Act now requires the COC to record reasons for why it has approved a particular plan. Now, this regulation now requires reasons to be recorded why a real estate resolution plan is being rejected. Okay, any comments?
Sir, this regarding minutes of meetings to be held before the meeting and after the meeting. Before the meeting, suppose before COC meeting, we hold a representative members meetings. But then by the time we hold a meeting, we prepare minutes and all that. It may be difficult to place all these minutes within the COC also, no? Because the timing may not be sufficient.
No, it is not for the COC just next. I mean, if the pre-COC meeting is held today and the COC meeting is after 2 days, it is not that you have to place then. You have to place it such that before the next COC following that, it is available to the RP.
So any which way, you have to give the
all
minutes
minutes
for
of
48
meeting.
hours.
One second. All minutes of, yeah, exactly. The regulations are already in place as to what is the date by which you have to circulate the minutes. That remains, that has not been reduced. Neither has it been increased. Okay? Right. This is about coordination. It is a very essential step but also the one with the maximum friction points or maybe implementability itself. Now, here is what is the most important statement in this entire note. The committee, which is this committee which was appointed to look into the real estate, noted that the commencement of CIRP does not by itself exempt the CD from compliance with applicable provisions of RERA and the rules and regulations made therein. This is, of course, general law, but many people unfortunately think that Section 238 can be used for anything and everything. It is not. Now, this is going to be by circular. Okay. So anything by circular in terms of mandatorily implementability is slightly lower than regulation. That doesn't mean that you can ignore it. No. What it means that you cannot, it doesn't have the same level of necessity of implementation. That is because it recognizes that when you are dealing with an authority, you are required to seek certain information, you may not get it, or you may not get it in time. So that's why it is not regulation, because regulation would mean it is applicable to all. So all it can do, RERA is an independent authority by itself under a different act. A regulation under IBC cannot be binding on them. So now it is, what they are trying to do is make the RP seek this type of regulation information from the RERA authority because they have it. And why do you need to do that? One is to confirm what the promoter has given to you. Other is when you are not getting anything from the promoter developer for whatever reason, there is another source of source where most such information would be available. Compliance with RERA. RP shall ensure compliance with the application provision. So, RERA. Again and again, they are repeating it in this paper. Just to clarify, RERA is the primary law. Even Supreme Court, I think it was in Mansivrat, they said RERA shall be the law applicable to real estate sector even during insolvency. A small thing, but a very useful one. All project sites, offices, etc., of the corporate debtor should carry a prominent notice of the commencement of insolvency along with contact details. And the claim form, most of it, very simple one. Okay. So financial details that are sought and the preference of relief. What type of relief that you want. So any other relief, please specify. Okay. So like you said, if everything else is fine, only the amenities are there, put it here. Then the RP is going to collate it, put it into the IM, and which means that the R plan has to necessarily address that. Okay, that's it. We have covered the paper.
So, just to confirm, you said that if the flats are almost readily available for possession, RP should continue and do the necessary registration and everything as part of the process, right? So, just curious, I mean, this is on what happens on the ground practically. Most of these projects, there are deviations that could happen on the ground in the projects. And the promoter signs up, I mean, that risk and all, they do take it up irrespective and it continues as a practice. But the moment when an RP has to do the necessary sign and handover, and he knows that there are deviations, even though they're ready and all that stuff. Should he continue? How does he go about? I mean, what's your suggestion practice?
Well, see, the answer is known, but it is not an easy thing to implement. If the construction, we are talking of a situation where construction is actually still taking place. Okay. RP is not trying to restart construction by hiring contractors or whatever.
Yeah.
If it is going on and the RP comes to know that the construction till date and the way it is going proceeding with whoever is the actual contractor is not as per sanction plan, RP has no right to continue with it because the IBC itself very clearly says RP shall comply with all laws. So, illegality of the previous management cannot be continued by RP. So, first thing, I mean, if I were there, I would tell the contractor, stop everything, get it to the COC, because COC is always your first port of call. Put it across to them, take their suggestions or whatever they want. If the COC says no, get these plans modified or reapproved, start that process. It will take months and years. Nothing, no plan modification is going to happen during the tenure of the CIRP. So effectively that will stop. And then definitely report to the NCLT and IBBI, this is what has happened and why you have suspended the construction.
I think fantastic. That's perfect. I think I was just extending that little bit. For example, in most of these towers, there are refuge floors. And typically, yeah, you're already smiling. So the building is over, the buyer is there, everything is there. Normally, it would have got registered by the person. But the moment an RP takes over, even everything looks ready, he should go and report it, I think, because most likely there's an encroachment on the space, which is a direct violation of fire. Yeah, thank you.
One point, Ganesh, is that as far as we are concerned, we don't follow a simple practice. If we are going to hand over possession, there should be occupancy certificate. The occupancy certificate means that everything is proper and in order. So if the occupancy certificate is not there, you should not hand over possession.
No, sir, generally the refuge floor extensions happen after OC is received.
That's a different issue.
No, that's what I said. So
yeah.
Everyone thinks it's ready. Tower is also ready. OC is also ready. But actually, when signing up is there, if it was not RP, it would have happened just in a jiffy. Because RP is there and the word used is compliance with the law. I think that's where they was asking.
But sir, refuge area is constructed along with building only, na? How can you construct refuge area later?
He's talking about extension.
No. Okay. Ganesh, let me explain what happens. Now, when you take the permission of CC and OC, there at that time the refuge area is as it ought to be. And once you get that certificate in hand, the builders tend to sell off the refuge area also. That is an illegal sale, which is an encroachment. So it is the equivalent of any encroachment on the assets of the CD. The same consequences should follow. First is notify RERA as a complaint that this has happened. Now this is a complaint against the previous promoter, and that mechanism is available in RERA. That how the previous developer has flouted the law. And if it is physical encroachment where people are there, then a police complaint will follow. Now, these are the two things which an RP ought to do. Can't do anything more than that.
Absolutely.
And of course, disclose in the IM. IM is the most important document. Everything that is right and more importantly, everything that is wrong should be disclosed in the IM.
Sir, small question, sir. See, even these proposed amendments, some are the gray areas. For example, is a live case. The commercial complex construction, say 1 lakh square feet. The builder sold more than 1 lakh, 2 lakh square feet sold. That is not addressed here. It's a booking. There are situations, even registration is completed. They are not identified like which part of the floor your area. Suppose 10,000 square feet one floor, they sold registration at 20,000 square feet also.
Yeah, okay.
It's not addressed here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got yours because multiple sale is a very common problem. Now there are two types of registration. Remember this. First is the registration of the agreement to sell. At that stage, there might be no building, no unit, nothing constructed. So that registration is not the context in which the word registration is used in these regulations. This is talking of final registration, okay, of a completed unit along with the land underneath, etc., etc. So one is a registration of a document, another is registration of title. It's a registration, but they are two different registrations. So here, IBC is talking of that title part, the registration of the title when it is ready, conveyed, and that. Now you are talking of double sale, triple sale, etc. So registrations, fraudulent registration of agreements to sell is a normal fraud of a document. That is double sale. Okay.
मेरा
Now,
सीन कहाँ गया है मेरा मन से कराया के बिना
राजन जी, आप बात कर रहे हैं क्या?
मेरा सीन
Your voice is not clear. Hello. I think he's talking behind. Okay. So registration means what? Registration of the unit or registration of an agreement to sell? If it is of an agreement to sell, it's a fraudulent double sale. Whether registered or unregistered does not change the character that it is a fraud. Now, how do you address the fraud? You can't. Somebody else committed the crime. So the civil remedy is, not a civil remedy, but the resolution plan shall take care of that in some manner. They have to do. Actually speaking, the problem comes at the stage of making claims itself. If you got 20 unit and 40 claims, you know at that stage there is something seriously wrong. You don't have to wait for much later stage of when it is.
Yes, sir. That is the question, sir. See, my registration over, RP not accepting the claim. So I don't get apartment. I don't
No,
get
one
money.
second. Registration of what? Please clarify.
Registration, absolute registration, not the agreement to sell.
That means
it happened in live case in Bangalore.
Arey bhai, what?
Yes.
Registration of what? Registration of agreement to sell or registration of the title?
See, registration of
unit.
Unit.
Yes. Now, after construction and after OC is received.
After construction
and after OC is
not after OC not identified the exact location of my first 4,000 square
meters. If your registration document does not identify which unit is being registered in your name, then that is a fraud played on you as an allottee by the developer. That has nothing to do with insolvency. That's a criminal case.
My question is here.
Don't mix up insolvency.
I don't get claim.
Insolvency cannot solve criminal actions.
RP don't accept claim and RP don't give possession.
If the registration of the unit is already done, it means possession handed over. No. How can you do a registration and not hand over possession?
That is a problem.
That means it's a fictitious registration.
Yes. Fraud.
Fictitious documentation is a criminal act. RP is not Chief Justice or something, no, or public prosecutor.
Okay, sir.
You can't as an RP, you cannot solve all the problems. Otherwise, they would make you Prime Minister, no?
I have just one comment on this situation.
Even Prime Minister cannot solve
if there is a multiple sale of the same unit, so the first one will get the unit, the subsequent claims would be unsecured financial creditors.
No. Anilji, that is a very dangerous thing. If there are multiple claims, RP has no right to adjudicate whose claim is stronger. That has to go to NCLT.
Sir, the principal bench has said it in open hearing.
It would be dangerous for any RP to adjudicate kiska's claim
stronger. So we'll get the judgment. I'm hoping to get this judgment.
No, even if the judgment is there, good practice would be let RP take it to NCLT and ask them to adjudicate.
My limited point is, while I'm with you that ideally it should be adjudicated, but many a times adjudication can take a lot of time.
Let it take 20 years.
Yeah. And RPs want to connect.
The moment RP does anything, the whole law will come on him like a ton of bricks.
So I am with you principally, but my point is also that we must protect every claimant to the extent possible.
Claims are genuine. How they are addressed in the resolution plan is largely up to the RA.
That's exactly my point. That's the point I was making, nothing else.
Yeah.
So go through the messages. There are some questions.
Yeah, can you just read them out? Whichever one.
Real estate allotment, cash is paid. Promoters did not give receipts. How they accept these payments as legal and determinable receiving allottee? Determining the receivables.
Yeah.
And allottees.
Simple one-line answer. People have to suffer the consequences of their illegal acts. Paying cash is illegal by itself. You do something wrong, you suffer. Why did you pay cash? Huh?
I'll give you a very interesting perspective on this cash transaction, a different perspective. So in one of the matters, the promoter has collected cash, which was beyond the approved sale price of the authority, state authority. Okay, we have actually moved an application under Section 66, fraudulent trading. What we have said is that it is not a claim on the CD. It is actually a money taken by the promoters. So it is not a claim on the CD. So what I am saying is, essentially, if there is any cash collected and it doesn't enter the book of CD, then it is essentially a fraud, which you can press as a fraud, but it is not a claim on the CD. That's the view we have taken.
Absolutely right. Claim on the CD is only that which has entered the CD. An individual purporting to act on behalf of the CD puts it in his pocket. How can it be a claim? It's a criminal act by that individual.
So I
But
have
it may not attract 66 also, possibly.
No. Stamp duty implications are there on that. So you cannot say that if you are contributing to undervalue the property and escape the stamp duty by giving cash, there are consequences for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the part. Hey, people buying flats, we are not talking of 50 years back or something. In the current scenario, which is relating to in the last 10, 15 years, people know enough not to do this. If they do it, they suffer.
I have a query on this case receipt part. The gentleman asked that he doesn't have any receipt, but there was income tax raid and it was recorded in the so-called kacha books of developer that cash is being paid. So can we take that as a proof?
Between the person paying it, then the person who has taken it away. See, it has not entered the CD. When you take over as an RP, you take over the corporate debtor, not the accounts and assets of the promoters. That's a separate issue.
No, accepting the claim.
You can't get into that. See, there is no end to it. If we do a decent job as an RP, it is great. Let us not start trying to do the job of the Home Minister and the Prime Minister, okay, or Chief Minister.
Yes, I completely agree. In fact, the RP must limit the work that he wants to undertake to the minimum, not maximum.
Problem क्या है कि हम लोग हर जगह घुस जाते हैं.
Eventually, our basic role is to ensure that the process is followed. If we do that, we are fine.
Yes. Anything else? 5 minutes only left. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I think. Thank you all very much. Thanks for attending early morning.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, all of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ravi.
One member raised a question.
Yeah.
So who is that? Oh, okay.
Madan, sir.
Any more questions?
Okay. Now, right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi ji.
Thank you,
Just to
sir.
welcome.
Excellent session.
Excellent. Just to welcome Ponkuman sir. Actually, he is DGM NCLT and SBI. He was also in our session.
Who?
Yeah, DGM NCLT, sir, in SBI.
Acha. Okay.
Yeah, good morning, all. It was a very useful session for me also. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for participating. Have a nice day.
Thank you.